I'm going to switch gears a bit and ask you to imagine that you're leading the launch of a new summer marketing campaign. The goal is to attract local customers to stores across the country, with the initial launch having happened over this past weekend. Now imagine the weeks of effort that have gone into planning, designing, and fine tuning a national campaign. I'm sure you can also imagine that you'd be eager to see the performance data when it becomes available. I know I would be. Now, as the data comes in, the results are disappointing. You see that in some markets, key metrics were met, but in many others, the response is lukewarm. Overall, the target metrics fall short of the company's goals, and the entire campaign is being called into question. After some investigation, you realize the problem. The location data you used wasn't uniformly accurate. And in some markets, some of the most relevant customer data wasn't included because of low match rates. Digging in deeper, your team realizes in these cases the campaign targeted the wrong areas, missing the very audience you intended to reach. Challenges like this aren't uncommon, and they aren't limited to marketing use cases. As business leaders, we face relentless pressure to make smarter, faster decisions. And we're not settling for incremental improvements. We need to know exactly where to target growth and how to reach the right customers and how to manage risks effectively. Add to this dynamic that AI is quickly becoming a required component of a comprehensive enterprise data strategy, and the pressure for getting data right just increases. We all know the integrity of data directly impacts the accuracy and relevance of AI-driven outcomes. And this is the same with location data. Yet for most companies, achieving the desired state of data quality remains a significant challenge. Many businesses struggle with location data that doesn't meet their demands. The data contains errors, inconsistencies, and gaps that make it hard to trust. In these cases, it lacks the context needed to make confident decisions. This lack of data integrity doesn't just slow down operations, it hampers the ability to improve customer experience and reduces efficiency. We know lower data quality increases risk and stifles innovation. When location data is wrong, execution is wrong. Take the insurance industry, for example. Managing millions of property records requires continual data updates. You need key data to be complete and current. This includes knowing about new properties and the changing conditions of existing ones, everything from ownership to storm damage. Teams working with this data also need to know how to manage inconsistencies across various systems and how to bring internal and external sources together in a comprehensive way. If any of this data isn't current and correct, models break down and risks increase. Or consider the public sector. In emergencies, government agencies must coordinate data from multiple sources, including E911 maps, road closures, the locations of temporary shelters, and the status of utility grids. When the data doesn't align and information can't be quickly integrated, responses slow down in situations where every second counts. According to the 2025 Data Integrity Trends and Insights report, 67% of organizations know their data isn't trustworthy. And they're feeling the impact: failed deliveries, unsatisfied customers, incorrect pricing, inaccurate risk assessments. You get the point. To fix this, some teams add external data to boost confidence, but onboarding third-party data is often more costly and time-consuming than licensing it in the first place. It's no wonder that in a recent study, Accenture found that 80% of AI project time is spent on data preparation alone. Clearly, companies spend significant resources on the steps from data acquisition to delivering business value. This leaves organizations with a tough choice of taking on complex data improvement projects or simply working with the data they have. Now, this is where Precisely comes in. We help organizations turn messy, unreliable location data into a strategic asset with a simple but powerful framework. Correct, connect, analyze. First, we correct location data, validating, standardizing, and ensuring it's accurate, consistent, and current across systems. Next, we connect that data to rich, real-world context, adding attributes like property details, demographics, administrative boundaries, and more. And finally, we make it actionable, empowering teams to analyze and visualize spatial relationships, to uncover hidden patterns and spot trends that no spreadsheet could reveal. It's a straightforward, proven approach that helps solve even the most complex business challenges. We found that a common starting point in using location information is address data. It is one of the most fundamental forms of business data. We verify and geocode those addresses, assigning each of them with an accurate location and a unique identifier to streamline data enrichment and prepare that data for use across your operations and analytics. Then we enrich that data by connecting it to information like audience profiles, places of interest, property characteristics, and environmental risk factors. This way, you know where something is and understand what surrounds it. Our data comes pre-linked with unique IDs, making it easy to connect data sets, reducing the challenges of onboarding external data and accelerating the time to value. Now, we've taken this a step further with Data Lake. These pre-linked IDs extend to our industry partners, linking market-leading data providers together. This means you can rapidly discover, connect, and use the location and business data you need most for your analytics and operations without the complexities of onboarding data from multiple providers. Finally, we give you the tools to analyze the corrected and connected data spatially, turning it into actionable information. This includes powerful techniques like spatial clustering to identify hotspots, proximity analysis to assess risks near critical locations, and street network analysis for route optimization. These spatial insights enhance day-to-day decision-making and power AI and machine learning models, increasing their predictive accuracy across geographies. Now, here's how this plays out in various use cases. Internet service providers' network planning teams use enriched location data to identify underserved areas, optimize infrastructure investments, and accelerate expansion into high-growth markets. For site selection, businesses combine address data with competitive insights, market boundaries, and customer demographics to choose locations that deliver better business performance. And in targeted marketing and advertising, teams personalize outreach and boost campaign performance by linking location data to audiences, segmentation, and spatial insights. In every case, the result is the same: practical decision-making with reliable location data. So what does this look like in action? One standout example comes from the world of product and service delivery. DoorDash, one of the world's largest online food ordering and delivery platforms, has mastered many of the concepts I've been talking about. They're using location data to attract merchants and customers, optimize operation, and enhance the experiences for their customers, employees, and dashers. Now, I recently sat down with Xiao Li, VP of Engineering at DoorDash, to learn how they're putting location data to work in powerful ways. As the VP of Engineering at DoorDash, Xiao plays a key role in making sure the DoorDash platform runs smoothly and efficiently. Her team is not just focused on keeping things running today, they're also planning for the future, ensuring the platform can scale as DoorDash continues to grow. It's a big responsibility, especially considering DoorDash's mission to connect local businesses with consumers. Xiao, thanks for joining me today. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Dan. Happy to talk about the challenges DoorDash is facing in connecting local businesses with consumers. Specifically, my team at DoorDash is called Dasher and Logistics. Our mission is to provide the highest quality, lowest cost fulfillment network. That's also the first choice for gig workers. As you can imagine, there's like a large volume of transactions happening on the platform every day between the consumers and merchants. So my team's job is to make sure to fulfill those transactions. And that involves knowing where the merchants are, their operating hours, right? We can send the Dasher to the merchant in time to pick up orders. And we also need to know where consumers are in some of the unique locations we are handling every day, like large apartment complex, hospitals, colleges, or like sophisticated or difficult addresses. It's a challenge to us every day to figure out precisely where the consumers are and where the drop-off points are. There were like multiple layers of challenges we're facing. First of all is the coverage and accuracy of the location data. Like I mentioned, right, the addresses, the geo coordinates of these addresses. Second is really the flexibility, how we can model these location data or addresses. For example, in large apartment complexes, we may have hundreds of units associated with one single address. Right? It's very important for us to have higher fidelity data model that can tell the dashers exactly, hey, here's the drop-off location for some specific units in the apartment complex, or in a college campus. It's we may need to model different buildings, and they may have different names. That's not like a conventional address, and we need to know where they are, right? So that's the kind of the fidelity of these location data and geomapping information. The last thing is really I will say, flexibility in close the feedback loop once we get feedback from the real world, right? So we have dashes running on the ground every day. They tell us, hey, this address is wrong, or that drop-off pin is inaccurate. How we can quickly get that information back into the feedback loop, that's critical to us. So we can learn through these interactions and get 1% better every day.
Wow. So you're bringing very complex data about merchants, locations, but not just locations from the standpoint of giving somebody driving directions, but also those last meters. So as you identify different providers of not just data, but technology into this platform, what are some of the key criteria you use in selecting who you're going to partner with to build out this platform?
Yeah, I think there are like a few dimensions we're considering. I was alluding to some of these, criteria while I was talking about the challenges. First of all, I think the table stake is really the coverage and accuracy of the data, right? That's kind of hey, if you take a snapshot of the data, like what percentage of like the consumer addresses the provider can cover, and are they accurate or not, right? I think that's the table stake we're looking for. The second thing is, like I mentioned, right, is like the fidelity of the data. Like, is a provider able to support the data model to a degree that can fulfill our mission of like delivering to the last 100 meter. For example, right, there's a vast apartment complex I think is a great example to illustrate the level of fidelity we're looking for, right? It's not just like we have one single address for 100 apartment units in a apartment complex. We need to have the data structure to support at the sub-premise level, right? It doesn't have to be accurate for every single of them, but the data infrastructure needs to support that level of fidelity. And the last thing is really like the flexibility, I'll say. Can we have the flexibility of combining the provider's data or services with our in-house data and services, right? I'll say that's probably a very important dimension we were looking for, because as a company having like millions of dashers on the ground every day, we do get a lot of real world feedback of where consumers are, where merchants are, how we can combine our knowledge with the table stake knowledge of the provider, right? In a way that can build the best data and services. That's very important to us.
Now, our teams have been working together for a few quarters now, prior to your go live and post go live. Can you talk a little bit about what the experience has been like working with Precisely?
Yes, yeah, it has been absolutely a pleasure to work with Precisely as a partner. we have seen huge benefits in terms of like leveraging that high fidelity data model of precisely, right, to model the physical world. Like I mentioned this again, but this is really core to our business. Like the precisely able to support the DoorDash to model the addresses at the sub-premise level, right? That's a I would say that's a pretty big deal to us, compared with our previous solutions. And we can, start to get more geo-coordinate information at sub-premise level. And you can imagine, right, when a dasher goes to a complex like building structure or, college campus, it's no longer just like, hey, no matter where the units are, we always lead them to the same spot. Now they can go to the precise drop-off location based on where the units are. I also very much appreciate the flexibility working with the Precisely team. We explore different options early on. For example, we're allowed to host some of the Precisely services on premise. That's very important to us. While maybe some of your other clients prefer to call the Precisely through APIs, right? So that flexibility give us a lot of confidence in the combining some of the services with our own services, right, on premise, to make it very performant and reliable. The other thing is like the feedback loop, right, has been amazing. Is whenever we discover gaps or errors or issues, we channel this feedback to the Precisely team, and the turnaround time of getting this feedback, back into the system, fix the errors, or purchasing new data sources to close the gap has been amazing. So we have seen this very high velocity of, the turnaround time on getting new data, and to make our services cover more areas and be more and more accurate.
That's great to hear. Thanks for that. Could you talk a little bit about the future of DoorDash and how Precisely is helping you prepare for that future?
Yes. Yeah. So DoorDash, we have seen increasing demand, right? In not just in the restaurant delivery business, but like in many new business lines like grocery or parcel, right? So I think we're even I think there's a even more need of getting the data from Precisely that's covering more and more markets, covering more and more use cases, and also it's just continue pushing on the accuracy and the freshness of the data. Uh, I think so far the foundation of the partnership with Precisely really give us confidence that this is definitely doable, right? I think Precisely has the strength of knowing how to control the data integrity, quality, but also like continuing increasing the data coverage based on our need. I'll give you one simple example, right? Like, we last year we were trying to support the consumers' use case of, hey, they can type a hotel name and they can find that address and the drop-off location quickly. And hotel names are, oftentimes they're stored as like legal names. That's not what consumers recognize, right? So we have seen some like funny names from hotels. But in order to support this new use case of, hey, consumer may order things from their hotels, we work with Precisely on, hey, can we, make the hotel names in the terms that like consumer actually recognize, right? Instead of legal names, what are the popular names consumer may refer to? And I'm very pleased to see, right, the problem solving together, right? It's not like I would say typical use case for Precisely customers, but like there's a really just hey, working as a one team, problem solving together, and thinking about creative ways to get the names right, right? So now we have seen a really drastic improvement in when consumers search for hotel names and they're able to get it.
Well, that's great to hear. I know I personally enjoy working with you and your team in the sort of brainstorming or problem solving sessions, and it really feels more like a partnership than a vendor customer relationship because of the way that we do collaborate. So I definitely appreciate that and appreciate your time today. So thank you very much. Incredible story, right? Now, I want to thank Zhao again for sharing the DoorDash story with us. It's a great example of what's possible when trusted location data is at the core of your operations. Let's look at another critical use case many organizations have: risk assessment. In this demo, you'll see how Precisely helps organizations turn messy property and address data into decision ready information. We'll start with a standard property address file, typical of what is in most real world systems. Next, we'll clean, validate, and enrich that data with wildfire exposure indicators. And finally, we'll visualize it spatially to highlight risk areas, giving a clear, actionable picture of where to prioritize focus. Now, this is a quick example, but it demonstrates how improving address data quality impacts data enrichment and spatial analysis, and a use case where every improvement delivers meaningful business impact. Let's take a look.
Hi, and welcome back to the Precisely Data Integrity Suite. So for our final demo today, I'm really excited to be walking you through how our advanced location intelligence and data enrichment capabilities can help you uncover hidden risk and unlock real business value from your data. So I'm going to be grounding this demo in a practical example. Let's imagine that you're quoting a schedule of 1,000 properties in a high-value, high-risk region of Colorado. You've managed to assign risk scores to about 92% of those addresses, but that leaves about 8% or the equivalent of $80 million in potential coverage with unknown exposures. So that's not just a data gap. It's a risk blind spot that could ripple across your business from underwriting and pricing to compliance and customer trust. The first step here is to navigate to our data catalog to find the address data set that we'd like to work with. The data catalog serves as a centralized hub for all of your data assets, making it easy to search, preview, and select the right dataset for your analysis. So as soon as we open our search results, the first thing that we see associated with all our datasets is a data quality score. This gives us an immediate and high-level view of the dataset's overall health, helping us assess quickly whether the data is ready for downstream processes like enrichment, risk scoring, and spatial analysis, or if it needs some cleanup first. This kind of instant feedback is key to making confident, data-driven decisions right from the start. So when we open up the data set, we see the data quality score right away, and it's really clear to us that we need to give this data some attention. The score gives us a quick snapshot of the dataset's condition, and from here we can explore the specific issues that are affecting the score, such as missing address components, maybe things like formatting and inconsistencies. This helps us understand what need to be addressed before we can move forward with enrichment and analysis. Because the Data Integrity Suite is a fully integrated data management solution, I can move directly from identifying issues to resolving them without switching tools or breaking up my workflow. This means that I can clean, standardize, and validate the data right here, ensuring that it's ready for enrichment and analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a data quality pipeline. And once that loads, we'll be able to see a more detailed profile of the dataset, giving us a clear view of the structure, completeness, and consistency of the data, continuing to help us make informed decisions about how to improve it. At this point, I've already built out a data quality pipeline that's designed to help us add more context and structure into our dataset. So a few of the key steps in this pipeline are geocode and verify address operators. These help ensure that each address is not only standardized, but also validated. And the best part about it is that we can do this using a simple, intuitive interface with no need for complex coding or manual intervention, meaning that teams from across your organization can easily access and apply these capabilities. Now, once the data is verified and geocoded, we unlock even more value using something called a precisely ID. A precisely ID is a unique, persistent identifier that serves as a universal key to connect enrichment data across systems and sources. So with the precisely ID in place, we can seamlessly append high-value attributes to our dataset for things like wildfire risk, flood risk, property attributes. And what this does is it's going to deliver a deeper and more accurate understanding of a property's risk profile. We can take this even further using Data Link. So Data Link is a program that enables native, ready-to-use connections between the precisely ID and trusted third-party identifiers, such as the Dun & Bradstreet DUNS number. This bidirectional linkage empowers users to enrich addresses with a broad spectrum of business and property insights, combining risk data from Precisely with operational data from Dun & Bradstreet. The result is a unified, enriched view of each property that supports better risk assessment, decision-making, strategic analysis, and this is where the suite really starts to shine, turning raw address data into actionable insights. The key advantage of this solution is that the entire pipeline can be pushed down to your source system. This means that the improvements we've made here aren't just temporary, they're applied directly to your data at the source, ensuring consistency across your environments and eliminating the need to move your data in order to improve it. So from here, if we return to the data catalog and look at one of our output tables, we can actually see that the data quality score has greatly improved, giving us confidence that the dataset is ready for the next phase of our process. So since the data is fully prepared, we could take advantage of the suite's built-in reporting and visualization tools to explore risk more meaningfully. So one of the standout features here is our wildfire risk map. This allows us to view wildfire exposure across our portfolio, helping us understand how risk is distributed. So we can zoom into specific areas and analyze clusters of high-risk properties. In this report specifically, what I'm seeing is high-level information about the building, its wildfire risk, the nearest fire station and body of water, and I can also see the risk for the surrounding 500 and 1,500 feet of the address that I've looked up. This is going to give me greater context around my address in a really simple and easy-to-use report. So in addition to the wildfire risk simulator, the Data Integrity Suite also offers pre-built risk reports at the address level. These reports are going to combine all of the enrichment and scoring data we've applied before, giving us really clear and comprehensive view of each property's risk profile. It's a really fast and scalable way to assess exposure and support underwriting, pricing, or reinsurance decisions. So these tools can help you turn enriched data into decision-ready information, helping you move from understanding your risk to actively managing it. So to wrap up our demo today, we started with a really common challenge. An insurer with a portfolio of 1,000 properties in a high-risk region of Colorado and $80 million worth of policies with unknown risk exposure. Using the suite, we assessed the quality of the address data and identified gaps in it. We cleansed, standardized, and geocoded the data to ensure accuracy. We enriched it with location-based attributes using the Precisely ID as a unique identifier. And we visualized the results to better understand and manage exposure. By the end of this process, we've gone from incomplete, inconsistent data to a fully enriched, risk-aware view of our portfolio. This means that the insurer can now confidently assess all 1,000 properties, including the 8% that were previously unscored.
Wow, I really like that demo. And thank you to Megan for showing us how the Data Integrity Suite can transform poor quality property address data into clear, decision-ready information. Now, just like the marketing scenario I started with, this demo highlights something crucial. When your location data is accurate, consistent, and context-rich, it moves your business forward. Whether it's optimizing deliveries, assessing risk, or planning a marketing campaign, high-integrity location data makes the difference in performance. But throughout this talk, we've seen why location data integrity matters. It's not just about collecting data. It's about correcting it, connecting it, and analyzing it to unlock its true value. So let me close by asking you this. How confident are you in your location data? Is it a reliable foundation for decision making? Or is it a source of unlocked potential that is holding your organization back? At Precisely, we believe your location data is an asset, and we're here to help you turn it into a strategic advantage, one that empowers your teams to act with confidence and precision.